Welcome, everyone. My name is Vartan Badalian, Transportation Analyst at GreenBiz, and I'm here speaking with Hans Pehrson, Head of Polestar Zero. Great to speak with you again, Hans, on Polestar Zero.
Yeah, thanks, Vartan.
So, for those that don't know, Polestar Zero is Polestar's Moonshot project to build a fully climate-neutral car by 2030. And the implications of this project could go far beyond just building a car. So I've been having conversations around Polestar Zero with the industry, and responses are twofold. Your project, Hans, is inspiring others to go faster in hard-to-abate sectors, but it's also creating skepticism that what you're doing is just not possible by 2030. What's your response?
Well, if I start with the positive side, I'm really happy to hear that you have been talking to people in the industry sector which are inspired by our program. That makes me really happy and positive about the future. And I wish them all the best in their new plans or activities inspired by Polestar Zero. Regarding the skeptical part, it's hard to know exactly why people are skeptical. I haven't talked to them, but let's say that some might be skeptical due to that they think the task is too difficult or the time is too short. Then I would say, yeah, I agree. The task is extremely difficult. But that's why we really need to start now and use every time we have. So instead of be critical about if it's right or wrong, let's start right now. That's what my answer on that comment, on that skeptical part. If the skeptical part is due to that we as a company or we as a society should not put our effort, time and money on this particular task, then I would be very honest and say, I don't believe we can continue the way we do without taking responsibility for the things that we have created today, the situation we have. So I think we must do this action right now. Who else should do it? I mean, sorry, but should the next generation fix the problem we have created? I think it's time to act right now.
That's very bold. I mean, that's the perfect segue into what we're here to talk about, which is going a bit deeper on what you're actually doing to prove to others that it's possible, and it's definitely hard, but it's worth doing. So ultimately, no one area in this transition to a fully net zero vehicle is important over the other. Rubber, plastic, glass, steel, it's all important. Focusing for the purpose of this conversation on the steel part, what progress have you made in manufacturing climate neutral steel to move the needle forward?
Yeah, first I agree with you. All parts are important. So all materials are important. All functions are important. But yeah, we can talk about the steel. I'm really happy to say we have really good partners coming on board to the program. And one of them is, for example, the primary steel maker SSAB. And one of the most famous process for making steel today is called blast furnace. And it releases a lot of CO2 emissions. And together with SSAB, in the near future, there will be a new process in place based on hydrogen, direct reduction of iron to steel, which will reduce the CO2 big time. But that's not enough to reach zero. So from a steel process point of view, there's still many things we need to deal with. There are chemicals, there are heating, flames, we use refined limes, graphite, all the other minerals needed to make steel. And then further into the mines, we need to drilling, explosives. You know, there are so many details we need to dig into to make just the steel, as an example, fossil-free. But it's all about details, Martin.
So talk to me a little bit more about the explosive side of steel manufacturing used in mines, because that's very granular thinking.
Well, yeah, we can use the explosives as an example of details. When you move into a mining field, explosives are quite commonly used, not always, but in many cases. And the question is then, why? The rock needs to be cracked. How is it done today? Can the explosion be done without the CO2 emission? Is there a new method of doing the same thing? Or can we crack the rock without the explosives? If we focus on the needs and really do the research on how could this be done without CO2 emission, that's the essence of what we do with every single detail. So it's a good example.
Perfect. So as we wrap up here, there's a bigger point to be made around what you call our spin-off effects. Going beyond the auto industry, what you're doing can have an impact. Talk to me a little bit more about what you call spin-off effects.
Yeah, spin-off effects, I love to talk about them because I think decarbonization is much greater than just the transportation sector. We all have to look into this problem. And the way we work with Polestar Zero, we really start from the very far raw material extraction and downwards. So that means that if we could fix raw materials, base materials, man-made materials, as I call plastic, steel, aluminum, etc., and then products come into sub-assemblies in the under-complete car and all the transportation, what's the limit? If we could fix this, there is a huge business potential as well of a quick decarbonization at the same time, both environmental, positive sides and business opportunities. I really believe that if we do this right and get forces together, we can fix it. But we need to start right now.
Perfect. Hans, thank you so much for joining us. We are truly rooting for you. Back to you, Jim.